Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. HeirofCarthage here on camera. Yes, you have to suffer through my ugly mug while we talk about a big announcement that came in today from our friends at Creative Assembly, and that is Total War Pharaoh, which is going to be the latest entry into the historical Total War game series. So I'm going to first start out by addressing what's probably the elephant in the room for a lot of people, which is, wait a minute, this isn't Medieval 3, or for a few others, this isn't Empire 2, or this isn't Napoleon 2, or this isn't Victorian Total War. I know where the popular mindset is, I think, for a lot of folks whenever they see the announcement for a new historical game, and they are definitely wanting to see that giant grand scale strategy game like we used to see back in the day with the big franchise flagship launches like Rome 2, Medieval 2, Shogun 2, all these big games, right? This isn't it. And honestly, when I first saw the announcement, I kind of thought the same thing. If I'm being completely honest here, I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I didn't see this coming." And then I got to thinking, well, it kind of makes sense. Warhammer 3 was delayed multiple times. We had the pandemic, which basically screwed up timing for almost every business across the world. And certainly that included the game developers and other companies in the entertainment industry. So, probably not a surprise that we're not seeing this massive flagship size game being released at this moment because it's probably still in development. I don't know this, I'm just speculating. But I wanted to address that because I knew that it would be the elephant in the room. I guess somewhat pun intended coming from the Heir of Carthage talking about elephants. But yes, in any case, I think that's probably why we're seeing Total War Pharaoh. Total War Pharaoh is produced, I believe, by the team in Sofia, which was the same team who worked on Troy. And so I'm assuming what we're going to see is probably a game that shares some of the core assets, mechanics, and stuff that Troy does. I don't know yet for sure. Again, just guessing here, and we'll kind of see as this goes on. Because time period wise, that would kind of make sense if some of those same mechanics and assets might make their way over. Now, I do expect that we'll see a lot of new content here. I don't think this is going to necessarily just be a lift and shift of Troy, especially based on what they're telling us. And there is a FAQ. I'm showing that here. There's also a trailer. I could show the trailer in the background, but I'm not going to mess with it. You all can go watch the trailer in its entirety and get to see the dung beetle rolling around the ball of excrement. There we go. I'll use nice words so that YouTube doesn't get after me. Anyway, so you all can go check that out. But it's a new game that's supposed to release in October of 2023. And basically, it's going to immerse people into the events of the Egyptian New Kingdom period, which is what they tell us, which is near the cataclysmic Bronze Age collapse. So it almost sounds like this game might have some vibes a la Attila, where you're facing like the end of the world type event. We have seen in-game events become commonplace in Warhammer 3. And it very much sounds like that could be the case in this as well. So there's going to be a lot of interesting information that they release. I'm not going to go through this word for word, but I wanted to have the FAQ up here. As far as factions, we're going to have 8 playable factions at launch. 3 of them are Egyptian, 2 Canaanite, and 2 Hittite. And by the way, if you're watching this and thinking, Air, you're not going into all the historical detail around this. I don't know it. And I also, I'm going to be honest, I was at work for 9 hours today. I came home. I had to get the lawn cleaned up. I'm playing with my boys, which is great, by the way. Not complaining about playing with the boys, but we had a lot of fun. And then finally, at the very end of the day, I'm going to get like a very short window to sit down and make some content. If you want to see a very beautifully done, well-written, and extremely well-edited and curated video, I suggest you go check out Milk and Cookies Total War. He's not the only one, but I watched his video and it was pretty spectacular. I'll link to that in the description too. So if you're wanting someone who's going to go through a little more detail in that regard, you should go check out that video. Otherwise, my main purpose here is to let you know kind of what I'm thinking, give you some general information about the game, and more importantly, I want to hear what you think down in the comments. So I really want you all to go visit the comment section and tell me what you're thinking. So how much is it going to cost? It is a full price game. It's going to be $60. I can't say this comes as a shock. I don't know that any of us like it, but I think what this kind of means, we don't see Total War Saga in the title, so CA must be moving away from that, I'm guessing. Either that or this just isn't one of those. And because we don't see a Total War Saga, this is not going to be like a $40 or $50 game. This is a $60 game. Welcome to the world in 2023. Again, do I love it? I mean, but who does like paying more? But I guess I'm just not surprised either. There's going to be a deluxe edition, which comes with some extra DLC and a digital soundtrack. There's also going to be a Dynasty edition, which comes with all of the DLC packs and that same soundtrack. And they're advertising this that if you buy them ahead of time, that you'll get a discount on what it would cost if you buy them later. Another elephant that's going to be in the room. Everybody always says, don't pre-order a game. I mean, I understand that mentality. I don't typically pre-order games anymore, but I'm not going to come on here and tell you how to spend your money and how to pick things. You make decisions, okay? There's a lot of people who argue that you should never pre-order a game because then the companies will have to make sure it's really good on release. There's other people who say, whatever, I know I'm going to buy the game anyway, so I'm just going to pre-order it and get the bonuses. Look, pick the path that's right for you. I definitely understand the mindset behind both. I'm not going to tell you how to play that, but again, feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments if you want to talk through why you pick one or the other. Just be cognizant that not everybody may share your view. They'd mentioned these DLC packs. It says they're going to be released as part of a post-launch content roadmap. It's good to know that they have a content roadmap in mind. We have seen support for games come to an end early, like Three Kingdoms. We don't want to see that. It would be good to see the company know what they have in mind and then follow it through to the end. Some people may hate this because we're talking DLC before the game even releases, but let's be honest, folks. Once again, it's 2023. DLC before a game releases is absolutely a thing. It says, what do I get if I pre-order? They talk about how you're going to get these cosmetic packs, potentially if you pre-order, and then early access that would come as well. So that could be a cool bonus. I think the early access thing is kind of an interesting bonus. Cosmetic packs don't really do it for me, maybe for other people. But again, whether that's what you want to do, you go make that decision. I'm not telling you what to do one way or another. It mentions physical edition for those of you who are interested. Languages. This was a little odd to me. It says, will the game have multiplayer support at launch? And it says that it'll have 2-player co-op and head-to-head mode. I didn't hear like multiplayer battles there. That actually kind of sucks if that's true, like not having multiplayer battles. I think that was the same with Troy, though, was it not? It wasn't there at launch? I don't know. To me, that kind of sucks. I guess I can kind of understand why they don't want to support it, though. Multiplayer doesn't typically make up the huge piece of the fan base, but it's a little bit sad. Will it be released on Mac? Again, I'm not sure who's gaming on a Mac, but apparently some people are. And they say after launch, courtesy of Pharaoh, like they have been doing. So in any case, that's what we get to learn, I guess, about the initial pieces of Total War Pharaoh here. There's also a Steam page you can go check out. It's got some more details there. It talks about different campaign mechanics and all that type of stuff. Definitely go check it out. It's worth checking out. I'll link that in the description. I don't want to go belabor all that. I'm sure most of you have already watched the trailer by the time I make this. You may have watched videos from other content creators who have done really nice work and spent a lot of time in this, whereas I have not been able to. So let me share you my thoughts. Here are my thoughts. When I hear the title, Total War Pharaoh, did it knock my socks off or leave me super excited? No, it didn't. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, I think it remains to be seen, right? For me, and I'm talking me personally, right? This could be your own thing too. So remember, I'm not trying to put thoughts in your mind. When Total War Warhammer was announced, I had this same reaction. I don't know about this. I'm not sure. And then maybe it could be really good. Maybe I won't like it. I'm not sure. So it was funny because I remember making videos talking about how I wasn't sure whether I would like Warhammer. I ended up playing it. I now really like Total War Warhammer better than any other Total War series or franchise within the series. Or what do you call it? Genre within the series. So Warhammer became my favorite, even though I didn't think I would like it even. So I'm not going to make any judgments personally about it. I'm just telling you that was my initial reaction because I didn't expect it. But then again, like I said, as I went back and thought about it, it makes sense. Everything in the world is delayed. And this is probably content that CA was able to work with its sister office in Sofia to get put together. That team was able to get this out there and provide some historical content, while I'm assuming other projects for history are probably in the works based on, just whispers and rumors out there and all that kind of stuff. And if I just had to guess, that's probably what's going to happen. So am I excited for it? Well, yes, I think potentially. And here's why I have some positive thoughts on it, even though it wasn't the title that was going to just blow me away to begin with. Total War Troy did a lot of things that didn't excite me at first. By the time they added all the content to it, I was really impressed with how much unit diversity they were able to get into Total War Troy. Unfortunately, the player base just wasn't there for it. By the time I started playing some multiplayer battles with Jarl and some of the other people in my community, it was really neat what they had done. The unit diversity was actually pretty solid. The light units were very different than heavy units, spear units, axe units, sword units. They each had maybe unique abilities, like a devastating flanker ability. They were faster through rough terrain. They really actually did a pretty interesting job of diversifying units, even though that Greek setting there had a very limited number of units, and CA took a lot of liberty around creating those. And I think that they could do the same thing in this Egyptian setting and really kind of run wild with it, especially when you have the different backgrounds like the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Egyptians. There's 3 different base flavors, and then they can make different flavors within there with the different lords, kind of like we see in Warhammer. So the different faction leaders could add even more flavor. And then from what it sounds like on the Steam page, it sounds like they could definitely be taking in some of the customization features that we've seen in the Warhammer 3 campaign and maybe even taking those to the next level. It talks about being able to adjust settings and make a unique campaign for yourself. So I'm very much excited to see what that has to offer from a replayability standpoint, because for me, that's really going to determine whether or not you're super excited about Total War Pharaoh when it comes out. How replayable is it? What kind of exciting experience does it give the player? Does it bring something new and enjoyable that makes you want to come back to the table and continue playing the new Total War game? So I think that for me, that's going to be the real telltale here, and I am going to wait and see. And as soon as I'm able to hear more and show more, or hopefully get hands-on with it at some point, I will bring you more coverage of this game. I do think the Egyptian setting is a cool one. I don't know much about it, but it does have a really neat aesthetic, and let's be honest, almost all of us had some fascination with ancient Egypt when we were in school or as young, and we started learning about it. So I do see potential here, even though this wasn't the title that I was necessarily waiting for. And some of you might be like, well, Air, what title would you want most out of a historical game? Well, it's kind of interesting. If I had to pick one that I think CA should make next in order to keep the rabid fan base at bay, I would say they probably ought to make Medieval 3, or else there might be a revolt. What would I most like to see personally? I would honestly rather just see another game come out around the Rome time period. There is no time period in ancient history for Total War that's better than Rome, in my opinion. So I could easily already go for a Rome 3, even though I know we're not technically anywhere near that probably in terms of what the company might want to deliver. But that's just me. Also, I would be extraordinarily happy with another one set in the Empire Total War time period with 3 different starting times, kind of like how we saw the different starting times in 3 Kingdoms. You'd have like a start period at 1600, another at 1700, and another at 1800. I think that would be absolutely awesome. Big grand campaign. I hope to see some of those things in the future, and we very well might. But I think for now, this is an interesting one. Let's see how this one plays out. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic here and hope that we've been given a gem in the desert here, right? I guess some bad pun intended around Pharaoh, and hopefully not the dung ball that we saw rolling around in the trailer, which I know people were already joking about. I can't believe CA put a dung ball in the trailer, I guess is what people were saying. It's pretty funny. In any case, you get down in the comments, tell me what you think. Like I said, cautiously optimistic. Let's see what happens here. I mean, I liked a lot of things in Troy. I felt like it was an underrated Total War game. This is the same studio, I believe, working on this one. This could be a real diamond in the rough, and I hope it is. I want to see these games succeed because I love the franchise. I've had a passion for it for well over a decade. But, like I said, we'll see. Get down and tell me your thoughts in the comments. Appreciate y'all. HeirofCarthage signing out. I'll see you later.